Northeast India is adorned with its rich cultural heritage and the breathtaking landscapes. Overlaying with its beauty, this region not just captures the heart of adventure seekers but also beckons from neighboring countries like Myanmar, Bhutan and Bangladesh with its medical care facilities. Of late, there is an effort to promote Northeast, especially Guwahati, as the medical tourism destination of Southeast Asia. So ladies and gentlemen, I, Pankhi Sharma from Business Northeast has been joined by three eminent medical experts from northeastern India. Professor Ashok Puranik, who is the Executive Director of AIIMS Guwahati, Dr. Subhash Khanna, who is the Chief Medical Director of Swagat Hospitals Private Limited, and the renowned pediatrician Dr. Prakritish Bora, who is also the Director of Apollo Excelcare Hospitals. So let's begin the show. So Mr. Puranik, as you are the Executive Director of AIIMS Guwahati, where do you see the medical sector of this region?
I see a lot of bright aspects and bright future of incoming updates. We are in nascent stage at the moment. By unique geographical location to neighboring country, people have been certainly coming over here, but we want more in numbers. We are developing, we still need to have the accreditation, national accreditation of our medical institutes, need to improve the ambience of the city, and we are known for our own culture and the languages, but we need to be more adaptive in, I think English should be promoted because it's a kind of a common man's language when people come to you. And we are at the moment capacity building, that's the phase. I think this is going to bear fruits in coming 2-3 years time. So there is, I think we are just developing at the moment. It will take 2-3 years time at least to be fully able to offer advanced medical services. I understand in city we do have robotic services, endoscopy services, laparoscopic surgery, cardiothoracic surgery, and these are the, including the cancer surgery. For these surgeries, people have been visiting Bangalore, Vellore, Delhi, Noida, Gurgaon like places. But soon I can tell you that direction is going to be changed towards the northeast. But as I said, we are still not there in plenty of numbers, but soon we'll be there.
Over to you, Mr. Khanna. Since you are the pioneer in robotic surgery as well as many other medical advancements of this region, so what would you like to say on this medical sector of this region?
First of all, my thanks to Business Northeast and thanks to everyone involved for conceptualizing today's program and for inviting all of us here. Thank you, Pankhi. Regarding the, when we talk about the healthcare sector in the Northeast, we look back at the medical colleges where we started with 3 medical colleges 30 years back, 40 years back. Prakritish will know. We had only 3 medical colleges for 2-3 decades. And we have seen a sudden change in the environment. We have over 12 medical colleges now and 21, total 21 are going to come. So, plus we have a medical institute, a national medical institute in the region, the AIIMS. in addition to that, we are going to have another research institute in the campus of IIT. So I feel medically we are going to change in the next couple of years what Dr. Ashok Puranik has said. Now, when we look at the society, there are two aspects of the society. One, who are inclined to go to the private, let's take 60 to 70%, and rest 30-40% of the population still depend on public sector hospitals. So when the public sector hospitals are coming up, private in all parts of the state of Assam, unfortunately not in all the states at present, there are no medical colleges in some of the states in the Northeast. So naturally, the medical services, health services are going to grow. So I'll come to the medical tourism and in how to how to attract the medical tourism to our region later on. So this is what I feel. So we are in a changing phase. In the next 2-3 years, we are going to change. But of course, yes, today compared to almost other states in Assam and in Imphal, we are at an advantageous stage. In Imphal also has a AIIMS, Regional Institute, and a good hospital which is getting patients from Myanmar, Shija Hospital. And Assam has many new specialty hospitals have come up in the last, since 2015, when we conceptualized the first super specialty hospital in the Northeast. Coming to innovations and starting the new procedures, there are many. The main aim was of starting these or coming up with these innovative procedures was to bring this technology to smaller towns, to all our people of the Northeast. So that was the reason why we started endoscopy, we started laparoscopic surgery in 1992, we started robotic, we are in transplant, we are in IR. So these are all basically aimed at providing services to the people of the region.
Dr. Prakritish Bora, since you are one of the medical entrepreneur and have been the founder of Excelcare Hospital, so being a homegrown entrepreneur, what would you like to say about the medical sector of northeastern India, especially Guwahati, sir?
Thank you for having me here. I think Professor Ashok and Professor Khanna sir has already, given you a gist of what is happening in the Northeast now. What I would like to say is, as I have been in practice here in Guwahati for last 23-25 years, so I have seen a change in leaps and bounds in terms of medical health. As sir has already said, in my days there used to be only about 3 medical colleges, whereas we have 12 now. And there's a huge part of growth in terms of private hospitals. So if you consider the global scenario now, the medical tourism, India has been on the run for medical tourism to gather the patients and people from other countries. We have been in the forefront because we have probably numbered at now about 5th or 6th, but we are still behind a small country like Singapore. That is probably because of the infrastructure that and the quality of medical services that Singapore provides and India provides. Might be a little bit of difference might be there, but we are catching up definitely. And when we come to Northeast, we are lagging behind from the major cities like Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, who are catching the majority of the NRI or even foreign people seeking medical help in India. But Northeast has a potential, as we have neighboring countries who are not so well to do with medical facilities like Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh. So during my practice, I have come across patients from Bangladesh, Myanmar, and the problems with these people from coming to our place is number one, communication. The surface communication has to be improved, and the air communication is absolutely zero. We had some communication with Thailand, but I think that has been stopped now. So unless we develop communication, so I don't think we can develop medical tourism. And the ease of a patient comes to Guwahati, the patient has to stay for a period. So if it is a serious illness, it might be weeks, months. So unless we have good facility for people to stay, for the caregivers or the family of the patient to stay in a proper, low cost and good place nearby the hospitals, which is I think lacking in a huge way in our, part of the country. So Northeast, I'm sure, is picking up, but then we need to learn how to draw people from our surrounding countries. So unless we have these structures, infrastructures built up, and the ease of coming to India for medical help in terms of visas, I think that has been taken care of to a great extent now. And then in terms of easy exchange of money, currency, there should be facility for in the hospitals for currency changes. So all those factors will come into play. I am sure the government of India Tourism Department, Assam Tourism Department will play a huge role here. So I think when it comes to development of tourism, we focus more on wildlife and other things, which is of course it's a pride for Northeast that we have such good natural resources. But we have to also include medical tourism here. So unless we promote medical tourism and and the government supports us, I don't think we'll be able to reach at the level of how Delhi and Bangalore cities are doing.
Coming to you, Mr. Puranik, how AIIMS Guwahati will be connecting people overseas regarding this medical health sector?
So, AIIMS being virtue of a kind of a premier institute and a brand by itself, people look forward for the treatment over there, and we do receive a lot of referral cases at other centers. Here in the Guwahati at the moment, we are into the nascent stage. We just started on 14th of April. We are just 2 months old, we can say. So we are getting a lot number of people in our outpatients already. Though we have not yet started receiving referrals because our operation theatre, which is going to be functional from the mid-August, and thus the time probably will be getting the large volumes. And setting up super specialty facility takes a lot of time. So by end of next year, I think whole thing will be established. Then we'll come to know, or probably will be able to cater the neighboring states and the neighboring countries, I can tell you. Government of India is already promoting medical tourism, and they are trying to increase the volume by making a coordination with the tourism industry, with the Ministry of Aviation, Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Surface Transport, and people do face a lot of problem regarding to the visa and their mode of transport. Not having a visa center also makes a So I think for Singapore and Malaysia or Thailand, few visa centers are already functional and few more will be opened up over here. That's the plan from the government of India. So certainly, as I earlier said, it's just a matter of few years, people will be flocking to this particular place for medical tourism.
My next question is to both of you, Dr. Subhash Khanna and Dr. Bora. So being a private player here in a medical region, so what are the collaborative efforts of the government as well as the private hospitals here to bring forth the medical sector and how to work towards the advancement of this region?
Thank you, Panki. That's a very pertinent question. I am also a chairman of Indian Chamber of Commerce for the healthcare. So on behalf of the ICC, we had been having meetings with the government how to promote the tourism in this region. I feel there are two aspects of it. First, stopping our patients from going out, bringing confidence in them. It's a fact that a ministry in Delhi would get operated in Mumbai, and Mumbai will also go to Delhi. That will be there. but the majority of people should not be going outside the state. So first is we have to have our own home, our own infrastructures robust enough to keep our own people with us and build confidence of our people whose families are there in other parts of the country also, so that we can break. So I think confidence building is one which our people should understand, and that will give signals to the rest of the country. Second, with the government, we have to have a, not necessarily the panels, a closed door serious meetings. How can we go hand in hand? Because the private hospitals and private sector is there to support the government in providing service to the people. There should not be anything like a competition with the public sector hospitals. So this is my second aspect. Third, I feel if we really have to make our healthcare facility to a world standard level, we need a very, very robust healthcare infrastructure. There was none before 2010, 12, or 2014, 15. When we came, the national level private hospitals came, like Apollo, which came, and Narayana. So before that, there was none. So there was, these hospitals have a very strong marketing agencies. Today, the world is different. In state, we were dependent on top level doctors only, and people used to go to them 20, 30, 10 years back. Today, the things have changed. Today, it's all letting the people know that you exist, letting the people know that this facility exists in this part of the country. So we had number one neurological center in the Eastern India, GNRC, but probably we could not bring the patient from outside. They might be bringing, they might be coming, but not the way we want, not the way the medical tourism was promoted. So I feel a robust infrastructure is very, very important, which is already in place now. Narayana's, Ayusundra's, Swagat, health cities, many have come, plus AIIMS have come now. So second to the tourism is what Dr. Ashok Puranik said, and what Prakritish said, that is the ease of fast transportation, the air connectivity, for which we have to talk to the government again to make it our airports, and truly international airports, so that we can attract people from outside. When a person wants to come to a state or to any hospital in a state, he doesn't want to be misguided at the airport by someone. So he wants to be taken care of from the airport to the hotel and to the hospital. So we have to have a very close door meeting with all tourism sector, healthcare sector, and government sector, because as a private entrepreneur, I may not, or he may not, or he, in the AIIMS also, he may not be able to do all this, because we are also busy clinicians. So we have to have a joint effort. We have to develop a very strong medical infrastructure in collaboration with the government, that from the airport, you land, you get visa on arrival, you are picked up, your stay is comfortable, your treatment is one of the best, which is not available in your country, in all the neighboring countries. And at the same time, you have a very beautiful accommodation facility. About 10 years back, we didn't have even a single 5-star hotel. So you don't expect that the people will just come and stay in any guest house. We have to look at all categories of people. If you are looking at medical tourism, we are looking at people who are going to come all the way from Europe or from other Asian countries, because we provide the treatment at 10% of the cost what they spend in their countries. We provide treatment which is not available in the country. Today, there is not even a single robo in all these countries. No robotics facilities in Bhutan, no robotic facility in Bangladesh, not even a single, because I am connected to Bangladesh surgeons, and not so in Nepal. Similarly, hardly they have very few cath lab facilities. They have very occasional intervention radiology facility, and none of them. Bangladesh has announced some liver transplant services, but then I think 3-4 years back, they started with 4-5 transplants in an year, and thereafter, again, it took a back seat. So there are many things which we need to promote, but let's be strong enough ourselves first, and then look at the marketing aspect of it, how to, don't say cheap marketing, how to make ourselves known in that part. And I think Business Northeast will help in this regard, and our government and our private institution, we have to plan that strategy. I'll just come back to what planning we can do in this regard.
Yeah, I totally agree with Khanna sir about the fact that, first of all, we have to stop our own local people from going out for diseases which can be managed here. So, if I get your question correctly, you're basically asking what private hospitals are doing to join hands with the government to promote medical tourism, right? So, I think there is a huge lacuna here, in the sense that the public-private partnership that has to grow, and we have to work jointly so that, as a whole, medical tourism develops in the Northeast. So I think there has to be a lot of work done here, because we don't have a standardized policy in terms of developing or attracting people from outside the country for medical help here in this region. So we need to formulate these ideas, and maybe the private hospitals like Khanna Hospital or Apollo hospitals will have to take the initiative here to meet the government and let the government know the problems that we are facing, to have patients from outside come into our city or come into our region. So there is a lot of work to be done in this respect. And secondly, I would say we have to develop a certain areas of our healthcare that we are lacking at the moment. I would say cancer is one of them, because we are losing local cancer patients to places like Mumbai and Chennai, because we do not have good infrastructure, and cancer is one area which is very expensive nowadays. So the equipments are expensive, so the infrastructure will cost a lot of money. So the private players, if a cancer patient goes to a private hospital for absolutely state-of-the-art treatment, that becomes very expensive for a normal person. So institute like AIIMS should be probably looking at this. And secondly, there are other areas like transplants, as Khanna sir has said. We are coming up with transplants, but when it comes to pediatrics, we are still yet to do pediatric liver transplants. We are doing kidney transplants, but the number is not so good as of today. Then we have to go look at transplants like heart transplants, lung transplants. So these are the areas I think our medical fraternity has to develop adequate infrastructure and skills. So unless we look into these areas, because the small diseases which can be managed locally, the people will never going to come to you for that. And if as a pediatrician, I would say most pediatric conditions are acute. Acute meaning they last for a small time and it has to be immediately attended. So which means a pediatric patient will never come to you or cannot come to you for treatment because of the gap of communication. So to get these patients, we have to have good communication, and secondly, the infrastructure. So there's a lot of work to be done, I'm sure.
Mr. Puranik, would you like to add something to their points?
Yeah, exactly what Dr. Bora and Dr. Khanna said, that it's a good thing that we are talking about welcoming people, For that, we certainly we ought to be ready. And for that, we ought to have those cutting-edge instruments and the facility to provide a safe care. These are the two prerequisites. So at the moment, we are into the capacity building, and certainly we can offer, once you have a good instruments and the equipments and the accredited institutions, which is properly certified, tested. So the world-class facility is not a dream. Soon we'll be there and we'll be offering these services to the people. So the capacity building at this particular stage is going to be beneficial, and that's what we are doing. That's what everyone is into it. Professor Khanna has already said that there was nothing like endoscopy, laparoscopy, advanced laparoscopy or the robotics in this part of a country, but now we have. at least the local people are getting benefited. And there is a lot of potential that the neighboring states and the neighboring countries will be flocking to us. It's just a matter of time.
Dr. Khanna, so as Mr. Puranik mentioned, like we are lagging behind in the medical equipments with the accredited labs here. So would you like to suggest something on that, or do you have something in your mind?
Thank you. So regarding accredited labs, that's a totally different chapter for the startups and entrepreneurs. So when we talk of developing any medical equipment and device, not only medical equipment, even if you want to construct something, we do not have a accredited RERA, the regional institute which looks after the construction quality. So similarly, we do not have an APL accredited lab for any startup to develop medical devices. So that's why there are only 3, 4, 5 startups working on health sector at present, because they have to get their equipment endorsed, accredited by the laboratories in Calcutta, which cost about 3 lakhs per equipment, and every time they want to go there. So this is, I think, a different aspect which also needs to be looked into. What we are talking is, in addition to this, is a skill development. Today, when we look at national statistics, in Kerala, we have 65 healthcare workers, that includes 1/4 doctors and the rest of the paramedical staff per 10,000 population, where we have only 20 in Assam per 10,000 population. So we are lagging behind by at least 3. Minimum standard required is 23. How to develop this paramedical staff? When a person looks at the hospital, comes to the hospital, he gets 5 out of 100 doctors, 20, 30, 40 he expects the staff, and the rest is paramedical, the biomedical technician, the OT technician, the radiology technician. All these needs to be developed. We don't expect anyone will come from Bombay and Delhi and work in Assam as of now. So we have to develop our own skills and non-technical staff. That is very, very important for the growth of the hospitals, the private. We will build a big infrastructure, but we'll lack manpower in that hospital, in that infrastructure. So this is one I feel is very, very essential for our skill development, what Dr. Ashok Puranik was telling about the Northeastern Hospital. I feel if we really look at medical tourism, the whole of Northeast, as you say, we have a serene beauty, we have beautiful mountains, we have Himalayas nearby, we have tea gardens, we have never explored that. Hardly anyone visits Northeast, rather we visit all the hill stations of the country, but hardly we have been not able to attract the people. This is one way we can attract them, give a medical tourism package. So this is, I think, the need of the hour. 2 days you get operated, or 3 days you get a transplant done, 7 days you spend in a tea garden. Promote tea tourism. Have a meeting with the government, with tea sector, with tourists, those who are looking into tourism, and develop the packages so that the moment he gets down, you don't have to bother. Someone will pick them up, someone will keep them in a beautiful hotel, gets treated, and then goes to either a wildlife sanctuary, spends time in recovering in the beautiful ecosystem there, and gets all the organic food there, and comes back healthy and leave the Northeast with beautiful memories of the Northeast. I think a sincere, dedicated effort is required in this regards.
Mr. Puranik, what AIIMS is thinking to do the next level to promote the medical tourism of Northeast India?
Well, we won't be doing the medical tourism, but we'll be receiving the referral patients. People requiring a kind of expert care, specialized care, the life-saving and the limb-saving efforts will anchor on that. People will anchor on us, and we'll be certainly developing those facilities over here in coming years. Advanced cancer care treatment, trauma care, neurosurgical centers, transplantation centers, specialized burn centers, limb care center, rehabilitation centers. So these are in the offing, and it is going to certainly happen. And this will at least provide a kind of attraction to the people. We call it giving a kind of a specialized care to the globally, you know. You can call it as a medical tourism. Certainly people coming from the other country or neighboring country will be a medical tourism. But as I said, it will be more or less they'll be coming for the specialized care. And as Professor Khanna said, that there is a lot of gap between the supply and demand of especially the skilled people. We'll be training a lot of people. We'll be certainly opening a training center for these technicians, especially whether it is related to the radiology, radiotherapy, lab medicine, the neurosurgical care, all this operation room assistants. So we provide training also. We provide manpower. So it's I told you this is a capacity building which we are focusing it on, and it will rear fruit in coming future.
Dr. Prakritish Bora, would you suggest some more measures to promote the medical tourism, adding to what Dr. Khanna and Mr. Puranik said?
Definitely. See, if you see it like since it is medical tourism, so if you look at a person who otherwise, goes for tourism, what does he look at? He looks at ease of travel. How easily he can get to a place. The resources that place has. Areas to see, and that is plenty here in Northeast. And third is, how easily he can communicate. And fourth is the cost. So in terms of travel, if we are looking at medical tourism, we need to have good, travel agencies who are placed in those countries, say Bhutan, Bangladesh, who will coordinate with our hospitals so that there is no headache on the part of the person who is coming to Northeast for treatment. So unless we have this kind of placement agencies, like I had been to hospitals in Delhi like Max, Apollo. I worked in Apollo, in fact. So they have people located in those countries, especially the Eastern European countries. There are a lot of patients coming from the Eastern European countries like Ukraine. So in fact, they come in bulk. So they give them packages. The surgeries, when you get them in packages, they come down in a huge way. So it becomes cost effective. So this is planning. For this planning to be done, I think we need a lot of hard work to be put in there, because our hospitals as such are focusing just in the local people and not really looking globally as of today. The thought process in our hospital management is not like that. So we basically need to change our thought process, to have more medical facilities and to attract people. And there are a lot of, if you go to Bangladesh, if you go to Bhutan, Nepal, there are a lot of deficiencies in terms of medical services. So we really have a good potential, but we are not tapping that as of today. But we are definitely, on the track. I'm sure coming days will be good for us.
Dr. Bora, you have been medical entrepreneur and a promoter of Excelcare hospitals. So what about the homegrown hospitals here of this region? How they are working towards the advancement of this region, and what about the startups here? You are just in this background.
Yeah. See, as I said, I have been here practicing for almost 25 years. So as I said, we have grown in leaps and bounds, no doubt about that. Professor Khanna being a pioneer in robotics, so a lot of things have happened. I was one of the first to administer surfactant in this region. So there are a lot of advancements in medical science, no doubt about that. And we are equipped, but then we are lagging behind in certain areas, and those are the areas we need to look into. A medical tourist comes to a place when there is something which is expensive in the local area, which is not available in the local area. So we need to look into those areas like liver transplants, and then cancer treatment, cancer surgeries. So those are the areas which will attract more people rather than acute illnesses like typhoid, pneumonia. Those patients I don't think will ever come to you because they need immediate treatment. They cannot afford to travel for days and then reach a place. So we basically need to look into those conditions which can wait, which can be planned, and which can be executed with adequate planning. So those are the conditions where we need to, as medical experts, we need to sit down and plan in a proper way, and the government has to help us in making the infrastructure ready in terms of a person coming to stay and the currency exchanges. As I said, things a person when he goes to travels to a place, if there's ease of doing all this, then that person will appreciate it. And there is also one important factor here. Whatever small number of patients we are getting, we should take a good feedback from them, and this feedback that we get from these patients should be adequately handled.
Coming to all three of you, like India, it looks upon the foreign exchange a lot. It is going to a lot of efforts and initiatives for that. So in the medical sector, surely even if it's facing some hurdles, like how are you connecting the people here with this foreign exchange, and like how to be the advanced region in the Southeast Asia?
I'll just continue with what Dr. Prakritish said about the local entrepreneurs, about the national chains coming to the Northeast, and then adding to our forex or foreign exchange. The local entrepreneurs last couple of years has not been doing good. You can look at smaller hospitals in different parts of the city and the state being closed down, and some of them have been taken over by the national chain, whether it is international, which is now converted into an Apollo, or critical care hospital taken over by the KIMS Hyderabad chain. I want to say that we do not recognize our strengths. Today, let's not talk about many facilities. We are talking about robotic, twice, thrice we uttered. Today, people are going to Hyderabad, but officially here in the TV, I'm telling Hyderabad AIG do not have a robot, where everyone wants to go today. So we have seen people coming back from there for oncosurgery after attending Hyderabad also. I feel if we really have to attract foreign exchange, we have to have overseas patients coming to us. And we have to look at the success story of these national hospitals. They have made their presence felt. First of all, Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta, anyone can fly from Amsterdam or from UK, but they cannot fly directly to Assam. Second, they have made their presence felt through their marketing activity. We must understand a marketing activity is a huge amount of money. I used to put one small hoarding at the airport. It cost me 2 lakhs per month. So these marketing activities are to be taken up by the local entrepreneurs at a cost. Third, do we have smaller outreach centers in Myanmar, Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan? Do we have? We have an information center of Apollo, Max, and Fortis in Guwahati, but we have not thought of it having our own centers in the neighboring countries. How the people will interact with us, how they will talk to us. We have. So these are the three things which I feel if we really promote, apart from the medical tourism, where we promote tea tourism, adventure tourism, which can only bring overseas patients to us, and along with that, the funds come to us. I'm now becoming here a bit selfish. If I pay money to Apollo, it may not come to Assam. So right now, when I say as a local AIIMS or Northeast Indian entrepreneur, we have to look at people coming to state. At least I get people from West Bengal, Siliguri. There are 2 waitlisted Siliguri patients for transplant in Guwahati because it is not happening there. So similarly, I get patients all from Bihar, all the relatives. all the patients whose relatives are in Bihar, they bring their patients here. We get patients from all the northeastern states. So we have to look at our presence to be felt in the eastern part of India and all the Asian countries, including Afghanistan and the other countries also. So this is my personal view. I think we have to look into this. So as a chairman of the health committee of ICC in the Chamber of Commerce, we'll be taking some of the steps, we'll be taking some of the initiative, because as an individual, he cannot take. Of course, Ashok Puranik can take a lot of many things to the government, and we'll just take to the government and see how we can take it forward. Thank you.
Yeah, I can second what Professor Khanna and Professor Bora has been telling, that advertising is needed. You know, you ought to open up branches to, if you want your patients to come from the neighboring country, you ought to have offices over there and advertise it. And then only things will happen. At the same time, we need more foreign exchange shops and kiosks over here. That's also will be the necessity. And once we are ready, and then the concerted efforts from the government. And that requires not only one ministry, but it involves right from aviation ministry to the tourism, to the local government, to the Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Surface Transport, all those things. So this three-pronged approach can certainly work in getting a lot of people and large volume of patients for the medical tourism.
What I would say is the Northeast, particularly Guwahati, has a lot of potential in terms of offering medical services, because if you look into the countries neighboring us, our neighboring countries, countries like Myanmar and Bangladesh, we really are doing very well in terms of health, but the tourism as such has not grown. So we definitely, I think is a very important step taken by Business Northeast. I mean, where people, even doctors and entrepreneurs and medical entrepreneurs will get, this idea to develop medical tourism in this part of the country, and how medical tourism can help, growth of foreign exchanges and other things, as you have mentioned. So I think we really need to look into this area more professionally and in a more planned manner, I think.
Three of the professors here and doctor, of course. So what would be your initiative, or would you like to say something to the government, or would you like to appeal them regarding some facilities?
So I think at the moment my responsibility is a capacity building, which I can assure to the people that in 2 years' time I'll be able to have that capabilities and infrastructure ready to offer people from all neighboring states and the neighboring country, and offering them tertiary care center for which people have been shopping and all over the country. That is going to certainly stop very soon.
Okay, thank you. So in my concluding remarks, I will request the government of Assam, led by our dynamic Chief Minister. I'm sure he can do it, and he only can do it. We were talking about capacity building, what Dr. Ashok Puranik said. So we have talked about paramedical staff and other staff, but what we need is a team of experts, team of super specialists. So when we look at Guwahati, we have 1 or 2 nephrologists, only 4 or 5 neurologists. So similarly, we have a dearth of specialists. So these specialist branches, when we develop in AIIMS also, we are going to need manpower for that. And these people, these doctors, these specialists can only draw patients not only from the neighboring countries and from the rest of the country also. So this is one priority in our hand. Immediate, I think, it's immediate attention. Immediate super specialist seats needs to be increased in those branches, particularly there is a dearth of super specialists. And the second, the Northeast local hospitals, local entrepreneurs had not been doing good. Most of them are sold out or closed because of the reason that we have our own problems. We have our own problems, and that's why the government of Assam had started a 33% subsidy scheme about 10 years back, And of course, I avail the benefit. I think they should be restarted so that we can have more structures coming up, more people get interested in developing newer hospital infrastructure with much advanced facilities, with some support from the government and some more support maybe indirectly. Say even the electricity bill for a hospital is much higher. It's a commercial, much higher than the residential bill. So I pay about 15-20 lakhs of electricity per month, and I'm sure the other hospital must be paying in 30, 40, 50 lakhs, the bigger ones. So all these small things, we can request the government to look into these and come back again with some scheme where the local entrepreneurs can get subsidy. I know the subsidy is being availed by outside entrepreneurs also. Even Taj, when they started the hotel, they must have got the subsidy. So why not the local entrepreneurs get benefit from these subsidy schemes?
I think, to develop medical tourism, both parties, the government as well as the health care professionals, both have their own roles to play. So we have a very dynamic and visionary chief minister. I'm sure he definitely has this in his own agenda. Probably priority. We just have to prioritize the things. And as health professionals, our job is to develop the infrastructure here, so that when people really do come here, we will be able to offer them the state-of-the-art care to these patients who will obviously come from other countries, and we should develop a good rapport for these patients so that they keep on coming here. Thank you.
As you have heard very insightful information from our medical experts of northeastern India, and we are quite sure that down the line, Northeast India, especially Guwahati, will emerge as one of the medical tourist destinations of Southeast Asia. Thank you. Thank you for joining Business Northeast for today's talk show.